Look at this dirtbag creep. You recognize him? Oh, if you don't, I'll tell you who he is. He is Missouri Mayor Mike Moon. Oh, yeah. Now some of you realize who he is. Yeah. The fucking same dirtbag creep who says, okay, and think it's perfectly legal for 12-year-old underage girls to be married to a phone or girls and have sexual relationships with them. Oh, yeah. Well, GOP politician panics as creepy comments go viral. Well, duh.
Because allowances for these extreme exceptions were not included in the language, I voted against the bill.
You know how right-wing politicians are always talking about how the LGBTQ community is corrupting our kids, stealing their innocence, and you always walk away.
Yeah, you know what dirtbag says that kind of shit? Oh, people like Fellow Ma. Bitching about the LGBTQ community, always bitching about how the Jews are buying their companies out and buying them over, how everything's a propaganda pushback, gun buyout sites, stuff like that. But I bet you Fellow Ma has no problem cooking for this fucking creep.
Away from those videos or those comments feeling like they're projecting a bit. You always walk away feeling like, I don't think the LGBTQ community is doing that. But I do get the weird feeling that you're doing that. Well, there are a couple of examples, and by a couple, I mean there are so many examples. And here's a really good one. You're not crazy. They are projecting. You're just picking...
No, I'll just say, Mike Moore is not crazy. He's a fucking loon. Yeah. I think it's fucking crazy. I just wrote a couple of the comments in here in this video. We got one called right here. He called himself Redneck Shaman. I married my wife when she was 15. I was 31. We've been married over 20 years. Wow. Oh, yeah. Let's bring about how Richard Xavier Cruz, groomed a 15-year-old girl. Yep. And he married her when she was 15. You see where I'm going with this?
Up on it.
The latest attack came from an edited viral video of a remark I made at a House Committee
Mike
hearing.
Moo.
I understand this clip may lead to some misunderstanding. So let me provide some background context. In this video, an opponent to the bill stated that I voted against legislation that would prohibit a 12-year-old from marrying an adult. He went on to say that I supported adult child rape. This statement is misleading at best. Let me set the record straight. I do not support adults marrying minors. In fact, if there's an instance in which an adult has recently married a minor in this state of Missouri, I'll make it a priority to remove and prohibit adults from marrying minors.
What's great about this is he says that, and then he goes on to defend why he thinks that people as young as, I think, 15 should be able to get married, despite just saying they should not be able to get married.
And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, this is the same fucking creep dirtbag saying it's perfectly okay. He'll defend a grown-ass adult to marry a 12-year-old child. And you think it's perfectly okay for the grown adult to marry a 12-year-old underage child, little girl. And perfectly, it's okay to take her innocence and have consensual relationship sex with her.
Furthermore, if a person is raped, no matter the age, the rapist should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. The vote mentioned was referring to House Bill 1630.
Full extent of the law, if a fucking rapist convicted, he should never be let out of prison,
minors could legally marry from age 15 to 17. As I contemplated the bill, I was reminded of a couple I'd met years before. When this couple was in their teens, actually preteens, they took actions that resulted in the girl becoming pregnant. The youngsters' parents decided to allow the children to marry. They weren't forced. However, because they were not mature and could not provide for themselves, they grew up with their families in different states. After a number of years, when the children became adults and were able to care for themselves, they began to living together. The couple is still married today. So with this in mind, and because allowances for these extreme exceptions were not included in the language, I voted against the bill.
Listen, I don't have any more details than what he gives in this example. And I'm not the parent of either of those children. And it's not so much that they weren't forced to get married. It's more so, couldn't you make that decision at that age?
Exactly not. It's not, she makes the point. It's not they were forced. No. They were, what's the word? Cohorts. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
Can you really be responsible for making the decision to get married as a preteen? I feel like there were a couple different avenues, and that maybe wasn't the best one. Again, I don't know the details of the situation, but it seems like there...
I mean, it is astonishingly crazy. You think you could coerce a 12 and 13-year-old girl? Or a child to get married? I mean, come on. Underage children cannot make adult decisions. Not at all.
Maybe some better courses of action. Seems like maybe the problem in this scenario wasn't the legal age of marriage. Also seems like that's probably a horrible reason to vote against raising the minimum age for marriage. This also seems like an issue that is way more relatable to the possible corruption of children than the existence of the LGBTQ community could ever be. And whether it's something like this or talking about trans rights or gay rights and the legal age for children to get married, it seems like what Republicans really want to focus on is the sexual orientation and sexual activity of children. So if we're talking about the creepy corruption of children, I don't know, let's start with the...
Yeah, no, let's go off topic before we bring it back in here. Someone made a comment that state representative for New Jersey said women have a choice to keep their legs closed. Well, he lost yesterday. Yes, I have seen advertisement that when I have watched some Flyers and Devils games, especially, or even a Rangers game, talk about I say something like that. Oh, I think, oh yeah, women have a choice to keep their legs closed. Oh, they should have a choice to say no. No, not when they're being coerced and be drenched like that. Oh yeah, just like a woman walking down the street, she's got a skirt on or a tight little blouse on. Do you think in the right mind she's asking to be fucked, sodomized, or raped? Absolutely not. No woman ever did ask like that.
The adults discussing it constantly.
So I finished up my annual walk across the state of Connecticut. I do it each year. I spend a week walking about 20 miles a day, talking to hundreds of people, most of them totally non-political, about what they care about and what they want their leaders to be working on. You know what nobody talked to me about on that walk? Children's sexual orientation, drag shows in schools, bathroom labeling. You know what they did talk to me about? Wages, not keeping up with costs, the safety of their neighborhoods, Israel, opioids, drug costs. This obsession that Senator Marshall and Senator Cruz and their right-wing allies have with the sexual orientation of our kids is so divorced from what people are actually talking about in this country. It's no wonder the candidacy of Ron DeSantis really found...
You know what Mike Moon needs? He needs to predatory pedophile bear. Oh! Damn. That was a good one, CMN. Yep, sure was.
On his relentless similar campaign of attacks against gay kids and adults in Florida is floundering. Because even primary voting Republicans think that this obsession that Republicans have with children's sexual orientation or gender identity is just super creepy.
Hell yeah.
And super weird. And it has nothing to do with the actual set of problems that this nation is facing.
It's super creepy. It's super weird. And when you talk to the average American, it's not something they're concerned about, because you can use your common sense and understand that the LGBTQ community and the way kids are labeling and orienting themselves is not a threat to anything or anyone. The only thing I would consider a threat to those kids is the weird, creepy, old politicians constantly talking about kids and sex. You creepy. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to check out some of my content that isn't news related, you can always check out my personal YouTube page.
Let me read one more comment before we're out of here. Okay, so someone wrote in here. He says that two 15-year-olds can consent to getting married because they weren't forced. Right. Even though the law says that 15-year-olds cannot consent to have sex, even if they aren't forced. But 15-year-olds can understand marriage plus sex well enough to choose that? Right. Got it. Okay. Yeah, easy one in my job. Peace out.